Hey guys, I'm back with hopefully something that'll turn into a mini YouTube series. A lot of ASMR artists do it. Soft ASMR does it. It's like a crime story time sort of thing. And I'm talking about James Bulger today, the murder and kidnapping of James Bulger. And if I look to my right or above the camera, it's because I've got all the information behind my phone. So his full name was James Patrick Bulger. He was born on the 16th of March 1990, and he died or was murdered on the 12th of February 1993. Now, for some of you who might not be that interested in crime stories, this one in particular is quite brutal, and it does get into deep stuff. So I would turn off if you're not interested, but if you are, you can carry on. Bulger, was with his mum Denise in a shopping centre in Kirkby, Merseyside, where he was from. And he was abducted, tortured and killed by two 10-year-old boys, Robert Thompson and John Venables. He was taken at 4:15 from just literally behind his mother, literally just behind her, by these two guys, 4 kilometres away to Walton, Liverpool. He was in the shopping centre with his mother, and she had taken her eyes off him for a minute. It says here a second, actually. And he was taken by Venables and Thompson. They managed to talk strangers who were a bit edgy about the fact that they had this little boy who was like 2 at the time with them, because they just kept saying, "Oh, we're his older brothers," which is really fucked up. So he was taken to a railway about a 1/4 of a mile from the stores, the shops, and his mum turned around and he wasn't there. So she immediately went to security, who looked at CCTV, and they did see 2 boys with one little boy in the middle holding the guy's hands. He was brutally murdered on the 12th of February 93 by, trigger warning if you've ever experienced or know people who have experienced brutal sexual assault, then it might, or abuse. This is where it's listed. They took him to the railway. They had a bat, as in like a baseball bat, a pipe, and a brick, and they put him on the rails and beat him to death, and as he was dying they brutally raped him, and his body was found on a railway 2.5 miles away from Walton, Liverpool, 2 days after the abduction. So this is already suggesting like these days now it would be straight away police out searching, but I just can't imagine not knowing where your little boy is for 2 days. That's just... So have I missed out any information from there? They threw paint at him. They attempted to take his eyes out of the sockets. It's quite... This one I read about, and I was I was disturbed and shocked, because this is probably one of the most brutal murders, and he's only a little boy. I mean, that doesn't matter. I mean, you can be any age, but he barely lived a life. And the 24th November 1993, Venables and Thompson were found guilty, making them the youngest convicted murderers in modern British history, and still to this day. They didn't have, as far as any psychiatrists or psychologists know, they didn't have any mental conditions which made them do this. They purely did it out of choice. They were found guilty. I said that bit. They were sentenced to a juvie until they were 18, where they would go to the parole board, and the parole board decided in 2001 to release on a lifelong license. Release, sorry, not relief. Venables was then sent back to prison for breaching what the parole board gave him, and was released on again in 2013 and 2017. Venables is still in prison for paedophilia, voyeurism, and inappropriate images on computers, and doing rape and stuff like that. No one knows where Thompson is these days, I believe. I read this and I thought, he hasn't lived. He hasn't had a life. He hasn't. And his little face. If you type in James Bulger, it's just heartbreaking. They threw like, they beat him to death, and as it was just horrible. They had an issue on how to deal with young offenders because, here we go. Sorry, there's more. I was just finding it, and there's more information on it. They eventually arrived at a Liverpool train station where they had raped him and cut him and threw paint at him, and they were then arrested on the 12th of November, I'd like to say. The trial, to this day, goes down in history as, like I said a few minutes ago, it was like the trial of the century. Like it's been the youngest, they're the youngest kids ever to have committed such a brutal crime. And they didn't have any psychological issues. It was choice. Post-trial, Venables is back in prison. Figures. I know I'm repeating myself now. I'm gonna have to research it or ask my sister, because there's actually a name of a condition you can have which makes you vulgar and murder people. Oh, I saw it in Law and Order UK. So that is, I'm putting it like this, but I don't really know how else to put it. In a nutshell, that is the murder and arrest of Jamie Bulger. And I think the important thing to remember is that Thompson in this world now could be anyone. And that is what is scary, because Venables, I think Venables is out of prison. Sorry, it just says here Venables is out of prison, but they're both under different identities. And so it's terrifying to know that one of these kids could be working in your corner shop. And it's, that goes through me that I can't even. I've got a strong stomach, but this is making me actually feel sick. So this was the James Bulger case. It's all on Wikipedia. It's all on crime sites. You can get books on it. There's documentaries on YouTube and iPlayer occasionally. But the mum to this day has now set up a charity, or set up James's Law or something like that. And she has CCTV in her garden, in her garage, in her front lawn, and as you walk up to the door. And I recommend watching a documentary on it, because it is really interesting. And her side of it and everything, and what she's gone through and what she could only imagine, and just the guilt she has is just so sad. So if you enjoyed this, I can make another one. I've got a good few criminals who I've got knowledge about. I picked James Bulger because I did have knowledge about him. If you know a criminal that you want me to obviously talk, do this mini series about, then I will. Just comment the names down below. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment who the criminal should be, or if you enjoyed this, comment one of those emojis, and I will still be in this because I am going to make a video again now, so I'm not dirty, it's the same day. Peace out, guys. Loves you. Bye.